From Forbes breaking news, Josh Hawley takes no prisoners, grilling key judicial nominee. Why are you fighting me on this? And of course, my name's Eric. This channel is called Report and Opine. It is the Coastal Elite Chaos channel. Please subscribe, like, comment, share. I'm actually begging you.
I'm begging you, please. Come on, please.
It's free to you. It helps me a lot. But if you want to spend money and help me, you can also buy my book, New York City 2020 Gotham Unglued, on Amazon.com. That link will, of course, be in the description. And this, apparently, is a nominee to be United States District Judge for the District of Columbia. And, I guess this is a Biden nominee, a President Bojai nominee to be judge in the swamp, which is completely despicable, as we know. And I think I saw some of this clip in a large, it was like 3-hour long montage that Forbes put together. I was doing something else, and this sort of piqued my attention. So I want to look at it in a little bit more detail and understand. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is going to be pretty heavy on the Rona hysteria and hypocrisy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Congratulations to all of the nominees. Judge Ali Khan, I think the last time you and I visited, it was before the Homeland Security Committee, and I asked you a number of questions there, you, including some for the record, you answered those, which I appreciated. One question that I ask you, and I ask every nominee actually on that committee and this one, is whether or not the nominee has ever litigated against a religious liberty claim. Usually the answer to that's no. In your case, you answered yes, and you listed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different cases over a period of years, actually, in which you have litigated against individuals or churches' religious liberty claims. So let's just talk about a few of those, if we could. Let's start with some of your work during COVID.
And think about how low the bar is. Just her admitting that is sort of a victory, because they're just not completely lying at every possible turn. And we know from guys like Hawley and John Kennedy and even Marsha Blackburn, these people are absolute liars, but it doesn't matter because they know they're going to get away with everything.
Case you list here, Capitol Hill Baptist Church versus Bowser. Do you remember that case?
Yes, Senator.
You remember working on that case?
Yes, Senator.
This was...
And Bowser, of course, is the D.C. mayor, or she used to be D.C. mayor, or probably still is mayor. I'm not quite sure, but she was absolutely tyrannical, along with the rest of them.
A case involving the district's lockdown policies that shut down churches in the district. Is that correct?
It concerned litigation over provision of the lockdown policies. The policies restricted all types of activity in the district.
All types of activity in the district?
Yes, Senator.
Did it restrict mass protests in the district?
Well, it restricted activities that one normally expected, including work, going to stores. It also did.
They literally just blank that out as if it didn't happen. Oh, well, no, it didn't restrict all activities. It restricted the activities of people who you probably don't like.
Include these provisions that were challenged concerning churches.
So it exempted unusual or unlikely activities that's in the statute, that's in the ordinance?
When the mayor was enacting these orders at the outset of the pandemic, I think she was trying to be as comprehensive as she could. And
no, she was trying to be as tyrannical and grab as much power as she possibly could. And we just saw Wesley Hunt, who is from Houston, Texas, I believe, highlighting the absurdity of some of the Rona hysteria. And I, at that point, said, oh, I hope that we can see that. And he talked to Surgeon General Joseph Ladapo, who's out in Florida. And there was that Hagman woman. It was all fairly friendly. And I remember thinking, we need to, pitch this hysteria to more Democrats. And this is exactly what we got.
The order did restrict a number of daily activities of district residents.
But it exempted mass protests?
I don't believe it said anything one way or another.
Can you point me to the text where it exempted mass protests?
I don't believe it said anything one way or another.
Of course it didn't, because it didn't exempt mass protests, right? You know that.
I think it was silent on the issue because I don't believe it was contemplated by the mayor's office.
Ah, so you think that mass protests should be in a different category than religious observances? Is that your...
This woman is crazy, bro. Like, think about, and I always go back and forth between evil and incompetence, but I think this woman is literally just a pawn. I don't think she's quite as manipulative as, well, Bo Jiden can't put a sentence together, but I don't think she's quite as manipulative as, say, Newsom or Pelosi or even Kamalto herself, who was arguably probably pretty stupid. But for the most part, I think they are evil, and there's clearly something behind the curtain, something or someone that we don't really know about. And I think she genuinely doesn't get it. She genuinely doesn't realize that she's been completely manipulated and she's gone through like whatever, some sort of law school and wants to be like, that's why they love college so much. Is that we can pump out people like this who are not going to think twice about how absurd the hypocrisies and the contradictions are.
Your position?
I think if there were protests on the book, then the mayor might have thought about that when she was enacting the COVID-19 restrictions. But
yeah, if they had planned the protest, then she would have said, you can't do it. Yeah, right.
I think she was trying to protect public health.
So you think it's fine to say to religious people that they are prohibited from gathering outside, wearing a mask, socially distanced? They can't do it. But if you want to come and protest, defund the police, if you want to support that, that's fine. You can gather en masse, person to person, close up, thousands of people. That's okay. That discrimination's okay. That was your position?
Senator, that is not my position.
It was your position. It's what you argued.
I did not write these orders. What I said.
You defended it in court.
And who did? Okay, fine. You didn't do it. Who did it? So somebody's got to get to the bottom of this, because everybody. I think it's Alejandro Mayorkas and that Stephanie Granholm. They always want to pretend like, they don't know. Even the social distancing. We don't really know where that came from. Well, somebody came up with it and foisted it onto the American public and wanted you to believe it was true. I knew it was insane from the start, and now everybody knows it's insane, but it just gets memory hold like it never even happened.
And you just articulated to me what I take to be your position.
What I was doing in the Capitol Hill Baptist Church was defending the mayor, my client, against a constitutional challenge to one aspect of the COVID-19 restrictions. We understood that strict scrutiny applied.
How did that case go for you?
We lost that case.
Why?
It was found that the restrictions did not meet the standard of strict scrutiny.
Meaning they were unconstitutional.
And they know. They know every single time. Bo Jiden himself knows, well, to the extent that he can know anything. But they just do these things, hope it gets caught up in the court, and by the time it's all over, they will have gotten their way, and a couple months will go by, and it won't even matter anymore. It will be completely memory hold.
Meaning that they did not survive strict scrutiny, and it's a matter of public record that the District of Columbia did not appeal that decision.
Why? Why were they struck down?
Excuse me, Senator?
Why were the restrictions that you defended struck down as discriminatory? Why were they?
Because they did not satisfy.
Why didn't they?
The court concluded that there were.
Because we made up tyrannical rules and didn't make sense, even in a DC swamp.
Restrictions that were not neutral of general applicability.
Yeah. That's legalese. Why didn't they? Why didn't they on the facts? You know the facts. You were a good lawyer. Why'd you lose?
We lost because applying the strict scrutiny test, the court concluded that the restrictions were not narrowly tailored to serve a compelling governmental interest.
Because?
Senator.
Oh, come on, Judge. Don't make me do this. Do you want me to go through it for you? You lost because Mayor Bowser was going to mass protests herself personally with thousands of people celebrating them. By the way, which is fine. We have a First Amendment in the United States. I want to be clear. That is totally fine. You want to protest? Go for it. I think that's totally fine. That wasn't the problem here. At the same time she was doing that, she was prohibiting churches, religious people, from gathering socially distanced outside wearing masks.
And Gavin Newsom was doing the same thing, to where you couldn't even sing. That was a bridge too far. Don't leave your house, right? It was already like a year in, maybe even more at that point, where, the French Laundry fiasco. Don't go anywhere. That is dangerous. Don't sing. We put sand at the skate parks. We shut down businesses, but I'm going to the French Laundry, right? It is a show of force. It is absolutely maniacal how these people, and it's still happening, right, on a different level, and it's maybe not quite as intense because people aren't so scared. But I remember thinking, like, they tried to gaslighting is the term people typically like to use, but they were trying to make. And when I was in New York, they were trying to make me think I was crazy and dangerous for getting on a subway. Like they literally did that far before the forced pharmaceuticals. I remember when they said, you have to wear a mask to get on the train. And fine, the train is disgusting. Maybe you should wear a mask. Maybe you should not. But I'm thinking like, no, this doesn't really add up. Meanwhile, Andy Cuomo, who of course stepped down because he was playing grab ass with the intern, but he was telling you that it's all about respect. You need to wear a mask. It was crazy then. It's even crazier now. And while I'm still complaining about it, and people like Josh Hawley, this was last year, it looks like, nearly a year ago. But, people are constantly talking about it and not willing to let it go. I know I certainly won't. But they just kind of want to forget about it, right? There's articles all over the place. Well, yeah, maybe we shouldn't have done that, or maybe the COVID hysteria was a little bit too much. Yeah, you think?
And the district court said, you can't do that. That's discrimination. You can't separate people out based on their ideological beliefs or their positions. You can't do that, right? Isn't that what the district court said?
The district court said that
do you agree with it?
Could not survive strict scrutiny.
For those reasons, right? Why are you fighting me on this? I can't figure this out.
I am not fighting you, Senator.
So yes, you agree. That's what the district court said.
That was what the district court concluded.
Do you think they got it right? The district court get it right?
The district court, we did not appeal that decision. I think that district court decision is consistent with rulings that we got from the Supreme Court clarifying the application of the religious test to COVID-19 restrictions in Tandon and the Brooklyn Archdiocese.
My time's almost expired, and I know other senators want to ask questions, so let me just very quickly here. Do you think it's wrong to discriminate on the basis of religious faith?
Absolutely, Senator.
Why did you argue that religious services, religious people pose a greater risk of infection than people gathered to argue for defunding the police?
I was representing my client. The mayor and consulting epidemiologists had issued orders that she thought were going to protect public health. It was my...
And look, she's got the stereotypical, you can't see it now in this freeze frame, but she's kind of got like the stereotypical leftist crazy eyes.
My role to defend those as
why did you make that argument? That seems like a strange argument to me, that religious people are somehow, more infectious than folks who have other ideological positions? I don't get it.
My understanding was the nature of singing and other things epidemiologists thought could transmit COVID
And there you have it. Somebody came down with that, whether it was Fauci or somebody behind the curtain. That's why greaseball scumbag bang your wife, Governor Gavin Newsom, decided that, singing was just a bridge too far, right? You had to shut down Pineapple Grill Saloon or whatever, the woman who basically cried on Daily Caller. She was kind of cute, but that's a different story, right? They shut her business down. That was a bridge too far. And they literally put up a tent for catering a movie set directly next door. Went hugely viral.
Everything I own is being taken away from me. And they set up a movie company right next to my outdoor patio, which is right over here.
Angela Marsden, owner of Pineapple Hill Saloon and Grill, outraged and emotional, posting this video on social media after she saw production tents and tables set up in a parking lot just a few feet from the outdoor dining area she's not allowed to use.
They have not given us money and they have shut us down. We cannot survive. My staff cannot survive. Look at this. Tell me that this is dangerous, but right next to me as a slap in my face, that's safe.
And I could say the same. Being in New York, protesting lockdown before the world knew the name George Floyd. That didn't exist. Just protesting the lockdown with a bunch of people old enough to be my parents and little American flags because we wanted to go back to work. And we're talking about after a week or two of lockdown, right? This is enough. But then at that very same park in Lower Manhattan, City Hall Park, the Chaz protesters camped out for nearly a month, right? It gets no clearer than that. And that was all, getting rid of Trump was certainly part of it, but it was a much bigger worldwide takeover that I hope, I pray that people are legitimately getting hip to and pushing back on this nonstop.
You didn't put any scientific evidence on the record for it.
And that's why they haven't really gone. They throw things at the wall every now and then. Measles, but then they don't want to admit that the measles are coming from the migrants. We all remember monkeypox. That came and went quick because kids and dogs were getting it. And then we don't want to talk about it anymore.
For it?
Senator, those were fast-moving cases, and they weren't going to full briefing and full summary judgment with a record.
That's not what the district court said. The district court said that you engaged in, and your client engaged in, and you defended discrimination on the basis of religious belief, that you offered no scientific evidence for it, that you pressed these arguments over and over and over without any foundation. Frankly, I'm disappointed that you made those arguments. You can choose what arguments to make. I'm disappointed you made those arguments. I'm disappointed you persisted in defending them here today. And for that reason, among others, I will not support your nomination. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's what they do. We see it time and time again. They can't pitch a policy. They can't pitch a strategy. They can't pitch a solution. They're just going to run roughshod over you with all of their nonsense, tyrannical jargon and hope that you're stupid enough to buy it. And maybe that's not happening anymore, which is why they've gone into complete hyperdrive as far as the election is concerned, right? All of your, I mean, back in the day, Barry O might have been the last card in the deck of corruption, right? Oh, just vote for a black guy or you're racist. And then he was, I guess, better than Hillary, and but people wouldn't have her. She was just a bridge too far. So Trump got in. And then they elected Bo Biden because that's Barack's black friend. But now we can see that that is collapsing too. So this is all part of it, right? All of this tyrannical control. Just leave us the hell alone, bro. Why can't you just build bridges, fill potholes, deliver the mail, deliver the junk mail, and leave us alone and stop trying to run roughshod over people under the guise that you're helping us?